Courtney and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be running you through the 10 items I don't want you to forget to do post handover. Most of these items are for the external of your house as well, but it's really important for you to keep these in mind even before you start planning the actual house itself. A lot of these things need to go into your budget and you need to have the foresight when you're planning out the design of your house to make sure that they all work together. If you like the sounds of my channel as well, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. I'd love to have you as a subscriber. And ring the little notifications bell while you're down there so you're notified every time I post. Alright, let's get stuck into it. Item number 1 on your list needs to be your site leveling. Once you move into your house, you will have a beautiful finished house on the inside, but the land around it might still look a bit like a construction site. So if you can get some people in with some machinery such as like bobcats or diggers, they will be able to flatten that land out for you and make it a lot more usable and a lot more beautiful with the space as well. So make sure you get someone in to level the site. And I would also advise walking around with you and your family and picking up all the little bits and pieces that the builders may have left behind, like bolts and cut-offs and things too. So make sure your site is beautiful, flat and clean and clear. That will give you a really good foundation for things like your fence and your grass and plants later. Alright, item number 2 on your list needs to be your driveway. They are such a big part of your property and it's going to allow you to have great access, but depending on how far it is from the road to your garage door, you might have a very expensive driveway if it's too big. So make sure that you keep a really good eye on your budget and pop in there the number that you need to make sure that your driveway is covered, because you definitely want that to be done almost as soon as you move in. If I can give you a good piece of advice too, it is to make sure that your driveway is a coloured concrete throughout, and that way if it gets chipped or marked, you're never going to have a problem. We also had the guys pour us a little slab next to our clothesline with the off bits from our driveway, the excess, so that we had access out to our clothesline without walking on dirt or anything as well. Okay. I am also going to ask you a quick question before I get into the rest of these numbers. Would you guys like to see an external house tour? Do you want to see the actual outside of the property, every single bit of it? Let me know if you're interested in that. Just comment down below so I can see if you guys would like to see that video as well. Okay, item number 3 is your letterbox. Your letterbox is an extension of your home and it's another opportunity for you to make a beautiful feature. I made sure our letterbox out the front was an extension of our front deck. We have some pillars out there with some white stacked stone and some marble on top. So our letterbox has that same treatment of the stacked stone and the marble on top on it as well. And the letterbox insert itself is a black glossy color that then matches our front door and our garage and all our outdoor lights as well. So it's keeping those colors cohesive throughout. We also made sure that the insert inside our letterbox could fit an A4 parcel in there really easily. So put the time and thought in there. Please do not put one of those sticks with a little house thing out the front of your house. There is nothing that makes a house look worse than the afterthought of we need a letterbox and you just throwing that in. So avoid that and plan your letterbox out. Item number 4 is your deck or your outdoor entertaining areas. So when you get your keys at handover, similar to ours, we actually didn't have any treatments on those outdoor areas, both the porch and the back deck. Basically it was just concrete that was texturized, but it was definitely not a finished space. So we made sure that we had in our budget the money to build some lovely decks that we then got to take full advantage of that and add another texture and element into the space as well. We even chose to run the deck. It's out the front, but it's also at the back. Out here, we ran it twice the distance of the alfresco area. So we have an undercover space, but we have a space that's fully open to the sun and the light, which we use a lot as well. So think through the flooring in those external areas too. Alright, number 5 is your garden beds. For us, our garden beds are at the front of the house and they actually define the border of our property, but they were designed by a landscaping architect to be that way, and they integrated them throughout the whole corner of our house since we are on a corner block as well. They were also able to tell us some really handy things, which is point number 6 with our garden bed, is the plants and grass you then choose. So number 6, get good plants, good grass, make sure they are established and make sure that they are low maintenance, and if you can get native breeds, that is the best. On that same point of number 6, grass is a big piece too. We went for buffalo, we got it in the rolls and it was grown locally. We just made sure we really watered in when we initially got the grass, but make sure you get the rolls because I used the seeds at one point in time And the amount of time and effort that went into growing grass just for me to end up with a few little patches here and there was not worth it. So spend the money, get your grass laid, make sure you put the rows really close to each other so you don't have too many gaps in between them, and you'll think that was very good money well spent in a few months when your grass is all established and beautiful. All right, number 7 is your fence. This is a really important one for the privacy on your property. You want to make sure that you have blocked out the view of those neighbors or anyone else that you might want to see in and see into your backyard and your private spaces. But think about that fence. On our property, for instance, we are on a corner lot, but our fence doesn't actually go the whole way up the front of the house. We thought through the floor plan of the house and how we were going to have the fence and decided we really didn't need things like the theater or the ensuite or our bathroom to be hidden behind a fence, and we would rather show that side of the house. So we pulled our fence back halfway down that exposed side and added those beautiful gardens that will give us some privacy with the plants later. So think through your fence with things like that. The other big thing with your fence is your opening in your gates. So we have 3 really tactical gate openings. One of the main ones being a big double gate at the back on this side as well. That means we could open up the gates, get full access into this backyard. We could even park a boat or a caravan if we wanted to in here as well. And it gives anyone who buys the property later or when we move out great access for moving in and out. You can bring a truck and bring all the furniture and everything in and out here rather than going all through the house. So think through your fence. It's a really big one and it's often so overlooked. All right, number 8 is your TV antenna. This one is so often forgotten, and it was forgotten in our case. We actually moved into the house on our first night in here, plugged in the TV, assuming that it would just work. We didn't have the internet set up yet, and we turned the TV on to find that we had no channels because we didn't have a TV antenna. So you can probably add this into your appointments with your builder as well, and they could do it for you. But if you don't, make sure you get an electrician out pretty soon after moving in to add that one on for you as well. All right, almost there. Number 9 is your clothesline. Clotheslines are, again, like your fence, overlooked and not thought through very well. But we put a lot of thought and time into our clothesline. I knew that I really didn't want a clothesline at the back of the property here in the grassed area because I didn't want guests coming over and seeing all our dirty laundry hanging out. So I made sure that our clothesline was hidden around the other side of the house where it's not really accessed by guests or anyone else. Over that side of the house is also our air conditioning unit, which had to go somewhere. But that is really great to have it next to the clothesline because I just put my clothes basket on there all the time. We also have our laundry over that side of the house, so it seemed practical in that manner as well, but we made sure we have direct access from the laundry out to the clothesline there too. The clothesline is a wall-mounted clothesline, so it doesn't take up too much space. It can be flat packed away really easily. But we were really clever and came over to our block one day and actually checked out and made sure we knew all the directions of the sun. And the clothesline is tactically placed so that from 12 o'clock onwards, it has basically full sun. I'm never going to be doing laundry in the afternoon. I would usually do it in the morning. So that means by the time I get it out and hung on the clothesline, it has got sunlight on it for the rest of the afternoon and got some great drying time. All right, let me get on to the last and final point. Number 10 in my list of items I don't want you to forget post handover is some feature elements out the front of your house. You need to think through adding things like stone and other textures into the front of the property. So we added some stone pillars at the front of our house with some nice thick white and grey marble on the top. It ties in the colours of the mortar between the bricks, which is white as well, but it also ties in the grey from the bricks in the marble piece on top. They add some texture and another element to the house that just elevates it that little bit further than every other standard property that hasn't thought through those things. The texture is really beautiful and we love how it turned out. So make sure you add something like that in your property as well. All right, those are my 10 things I don't want you to forget post handover. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. If you've liked what you've seen today, please head down below, hit that subscribe button and ring the notifications bell so that you're notified every time I post. And while you're down there, how about you give me a thumbs up if you made it all the way to the end of this video. Thanks so much guys, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.